Yo guys, Bufkin over here, hope you all are doing well. Today we're gonna be taking a look at Mr. Fantastic. I decided to use my tier 4 discount on him and I think he is a very good option. The main reasons being, he is a native tier 2 character and on top of that, he has some decent PvP value. I think by the time this video is gonna go up, the discount is gonna end. But yeah, native tier 2 characters would have been your best options here. Moving forward, we already picked him and upgraded his gears. This is what his stats look like at the moment and I have a somewhat decent build on him. I already put a Mighty Conquest CTP. But yeah, without further ado, let's get him to tier 4. Nice, we finally have him at tier 4. Let's see what the stat boosts look like. We got an insane 32,000 physical attack boost. On top of that, a 43,000 HP improvement. That is actually insane. Now let's take a look at his stats after tier 4ing him. I managed to cap out all the stats I possibly could have, and yeah, the rest of the build stayed the exact same as it was before I tier 4'd him. Again, I am using him with a 3-star artifact and a Mighty Conquest. So in this video, we're going to be testing him out in Timeline Battle, Team Battle Arena, and Otherworld Battle. For Timeline Battle, we're going to be using this team. I was lucky enough to pull a 6-star artifact for Franklin Richards and it motivated me more to tier 4 Mr. Fantastic. I don't have a support CTP on him, however we have an authority on Sue Storm. So yeah, through this testing we will find out how good the Fantastic 4 team actually is. Let's get started with our Timeline Battle testing. For the first run we ended up going for a top 5 team in Timeline Battle Vibranium, and as you can see we got absolutely annihilated. I was a bit ambitious picking this team. I didn't expect them to win, but at least expected them to survive a bit longer. But yeah, let's just move on to the next one. Now we're up against a sentry team with double supports. We started off by buying time with Franklin Richards and then also tried to soften up a sentry with Invisible Woman, but she wasn't even able to do any damage. Then in came Reed Richards and you'd expect him to perform pretty bad against him. However, he did survive longer than I expected. But yeah, we still ended up losing. I still have some hope, so yeah, let's see how we perform in this battle. We're up against a double support Null team, and it seems like we're taking a bit longer than expected to reach Null himself. But yeah, as soon as he entered the battlefield, he triggered our Invisible Woman's immortality. And then came in Mr. Fantastic, and the same happened to him. However, as soon as he recovered, he was able to deal a little bit of damage, but yes, he still ended up dying. Seeing how rough it got, I decided to pick some easier teams. First up, we have a Silver Surfer Wolverine Sentry team. Now, as you can see, I swapped in Mr. Fantastic and I insta-killed Silver Surfer's first life. And I did the same with his second life as well, waiting out his reflect. Then came in Sentry. Now he is a rough one, so let's see if we can take him on. As you can see, I am spamming his third skill because it has penetration and iframe ignore. And surprisingly enough, we were actually able to take out his first life. But will we be able to take out his second life as well? Let's see for ourselves. With the help of Ghost Rider's striker skill, we were actually able to take him out. Then came in Wolverine and it seems like his Wolverine lacked damage and we actually triggered his immortality. Then came in Sue Storm. She actually cleaned it up for our first victory. This was still a top 100 team in Vibranium, but yeah, let's go back to our reality. We're up against a Colossus Sentry Null team, a very generic Timeline Battle team, so let's see how we perform here. Having almost 150k HP on Mr. Fantastic is helping us out a lot. As you can see, Sentry did struggle to take him out and trigger his immortality. But it seems like our damage is what is holding us back. As you can see, occasionally we do half a bar of damage, but it's not enough, and after so many back and forths we ended up dying. Then came in Invisible Woman, and surprisingly enough, she was actually able to take out Sentry. I'm genuinely baffled. What is going on? Can we actually take him out completely? She headlocks him, and she actually successfully takes him out. Now up against Null, she was struggling, so I ended up subbing in Franklin Richards to buy her a little bit of time while her skills load up. But yeah, we just ended up losing anyways. That summed up our Timeline Battle testing. Now we can briefly move on to Team Battle Arena. Now given this game mode is on autoplay, I can't really control my characters and it makes it more difficult for my characters to perform well up against the absolute top metas. As you can see against a null team, okay, never mind, I'm wrong. They actually ended up winning. What the hell is even going on? But yeah, moving on to a different team, we have a Carnage Silver Surfer team. Even though Carnage has an outdated uniform, we actually seem to be struggling a lot against this team. And yeah, we just ended up losing. What the hell was that first battle? But yeah, moving on, we have an Adam Warlock team, and yeah, as soon as we enter the battle, we get our immortalities triggered and we end up losing. Following that, we have a Sentry team. He is using Sentry with Victorious and Taskmaster, and yeah, we end up losing both our teammates, and surprisingly enough, Mr. Fantastic was able to take out Sentry. But yeah, he eventually did die and we lost. Now the first match was definitely a fluke, so we tested them up against a null team again. This time around they did struggle a bit more. However, we were actually able to trigger Null's immortality, but it was too late and we ended up losing. But yeah, that concluded our testing in Team Battle Arena. We can swiftly move on to Otherworld Battle. I'm expecting them to perform better here compared to the other two game modes, but let's see how they actually do. In seasons where most meta PvP toons are nerfed, that's where this team shines the most. They actually perform very well against mid-meta characters. However, we did start off our testing with a loss. It's not a big deal, let's move on to the next battle. Given my build on Mr. Fantastic is very tanky, I need him to survive long enough to utilize his value. In most cases I lose where he ends up dying very quickly, but if he ends up surviving long enough, he can take out decent characters easily. And the support buff from Franklin helps a lot. And while I am running a conquest on him, you can actually use him with the authority as well, just like Invisible Woman. The main reason being, he has decreased basic damage received by 35% on his tier 2 passive. It works hand in hand with the authority's damage reduction. However, I opted for a conquest because I didn't have a spare authority. Now, regardless of what his build is looking like, I think it's more important to have a good build on Franklin. Mainly his artifact. It gives the Fantastic Four tag characters immortality, and for Mr. Fantastic to have any relevance to the meta, you definitely need that. So make sure you're aware of that before investing too much into Mr. Fantastic or any of the Fantastic Four characters for PvP. Anyways, this is the last battle to conclude our overall testing, and as you can see, our team is letting us down. We are left with Mr. Fantastic to pull off this victory. But he is performing really well, and he ends up taking out the last two characters to secure our final win, bringing us to the end of this video. I'm genuinely impressed with the Fantastic Four team, especially Mr. Fantastic. I grew up watching Jessica Alba in Fantastic Four, if you know what I mean, and I really love these characters, and being able to use them makes me enjoy the game a lot more. So yeah, as a final verdict on Mr. Fantastic, I'd suggest building him up if you already have most of the meta PvP toons already built, and also if you have Franklin's artifact. However, just like me, if you love Fantastic Four and Mr. Fantastic, you can always just tier for him to have some fun, because at the end of the day, this is a game. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. Be sure to leave a comment on whether you think it was worth it or not, and if you want to see Jessica Alba in your dreams, leave a like. But I'll catch you in the next video. So make sure you're subscribed with your notifications on. But until then, have a great one. Peace!